There are images that are not only seen, but felt, smelled. This piece by Simon Stålenhag transports us to a dystopian America that seems more like a memory than a fantasy. But why does something that has never existed feel so familiar to us? Today we are going to dissect one of his most iconic pieces to understand why, when we look at it, we feel a sharp nostalgia for something that never happened. We are going to analyze the composition, the use of color, the environmental narrative, and the technical trick that deceives our brain into accepting the impossible as everyday. Get ready, because we are about to open the hood of one of the most fascinating machines in contemporary art. Stålenhag grew up in the rural landscapes of Stockholm. His genius lies in inserting elements of science fiction, robots, spaceships, reactors, into photos that look like they could be taken from any Swede's family album. He doesn't seek the glossy futurism of Hollywood. He seeks rust, rain, and everyday life. This style is known as Swedish Retro-futurism. It is a collision between cutting-edge science fiction technology and the obsolete public infrastructure of the Swedish social democracy era. In the pieces, there is no epic battle, no fire, no heroes. There is a Tuesday afternoon, there is mud on the boots, and there is a machine that seems to have been there for so long that no one stops to look at it anymore. That is the first key to its success: the normalization of the extraordinary through geographical and temporal context. Let's analyze the structure of this piece taken from the book Electric State, published in 2017. Notice how low the horizon is, giving immense weight to the blue sky, which contrasts sharply with the gigantic decaying figure of what appears to be a robot long forgotten in a parking lot. Stålenhag uses negative space to create a sense of overwhelming loneliness. Here, the void counts as much as the object. It is a lesson in visual hierarchy. The largest thing is not always the most important, but here, the size of the machine, contrasted with the smallness of human elements, creates a sense of scale that makes us feel vulnerable. Let's talk about the temperature of the work. Stålenhag works almost exclusively with a desaturated color palette. If we analyze the color codes of this piece, we see an absolute predominance of very muted blues and grays. It is a cold palette. However, here's the trick. The artist inserts points of warmth, usually oranges or yellows. This complementary contrast is a classic design tool, but he uses it for more than just aesthetics. He uses it to indicate life or activity in a dead environment. More distant objects, such as mountains, lose contrast and become bluer due to the atmosphere. Stålenhag calculates this precisely, causing our brains to interpret the image not as a drawing, but as a window into the real world. Many ask, how does he make it look so real? The answer lies in imperfection. In professional digital art, we often fall into the trap of clinical perfection. The lines are too straight, the gradients too smooth. Stålenhag does the opposite. He uses brushes that mimic the texture of canvas and oil paint. If we look at this detail here, we see patches of color that look dirty. There is digital noise intentionally added to mimic the grain of 35mm film. He understands that reality is imperfect, that metal rusts chaotically, that mud is not a uniform color. By adding these layers of visual chaos, he removes the feeling of rendering and gives the work a tactile quality. It's as if you could run your finger across the screen and feel the coldness of wet metal. Finally, let's talk about what we don't see. Stålenhag is the king of environmental storytelling. In this work, the central object is impressive, but the story is on the edges. These details tell us that the world continues outside the frame. It is not a static scene, it is a still from a movie that has been playing for years. Stålenhag's narrative is not one of exposition, but of mystery. He does not explain what it is, he just shows you. The character's indifference to the fantastical is what ultimately anchors the work in reality. The dystopian science fiction graphic novel The Electric State is set in an alternate 1997 America and follows a teenager and her robot on an apocalyptic journey characterized by melancholic landscapes, abandoned robots, and virtual reality technology. The impact of this work was such that it jumped from the digital canvas to the television screen. To dissect the work by Simon Stålenhag is to understand that art is not just about technical skill, but about the ability to evoke a specific emotion through the observation of reality. He has taught us that the future can be mundane, and that melancholy is as powerful a design tool as perspective. Thank you for joining me on this journey to the heart of this image. Don't forget to subscribe, and if you would like another analysis of a particular work by an artist that interests you, please leave a comment in the comment section. I read them all and take them into consideration.